Hey guys, I want to welcome you back to the Sensu Pop channel. Today we'll be going through all the secret rares that will be coming out in BT14 Cross Spirit next month. We're gonna rate them and I'm gonna give you my opinion to see how good that they will be. And also, most importantly, how potentially expensive that they are gonna be. Spoiler, this set we might have one. If you're new to Dragon Ball Super card games, secret rares are the highest rarity in the set. There are only 2 to be found in the whole entire case. That's 12 booster boxes. That is a lot of money to pay just to be able to pull the card. Long story short, when you open a pack, you really want to see one of them inside. I'm gonna rate those cards based on 3 criteria. The first one being how playable they are. If they are very playable, they will be very highly sought after, and if they are very highly sought after, that is gonna influence the overall cost of the card. The second criteria is also if there is other better options around. If the card is playable but there is a better option around, I don't know why you don't want to play the better option, unless the better option is very expensive, of course. The third criteria is going to be a very interesting one, which is how collectible the card is going to be. We've seen this before, for example, like Cell Xeno. That card, it's extremely playable. It commands a price of around $500. But then there is also a card which is the Apex of Power Son Goku and Vegeta. That card can only be played in one deck, and most people who play that deck might not even play this card. However, because it is Son Goku and Vegeta, and because it has the Victory Strike keyword, this card commands a price of around $2,000. How collectible they are, it's also going to be affecting the price of the card. First card we are going to be talking about, it is going to be Super 17 Sibling Absorb. This card is very good. It has extremely good value for 1 cost. Do you know Cold Bloodlust? The card that is being restricted to 1 because it is too powerful. This is a Cold Bloodlust on steroids. So what do you get for paying 1 energy? It has Cold Bloodlust. That means the battle card that's being played has its skills negated for the duration of the turn. Then you choose one of your opponent's battle card, ignoring barrier in rest mode, you absorb it. And then now you have a 40k beat stick on the board. No, you have a 40k critical beat stick on the board. And this card, most importantly, it's safe to play most of the time. It is immune to counter plays because it has deflect, and it is immune to other cards like popping your counter plays that pops it, like Charismatic Villain, because this card, it's already a 8 cost on the board. By the time that auto comes in, this card is safe and it is immune to that effect also. Downside, of course, it does not have barrier, it is locked to yellow leaders, but let's be real over here, this are nitpicking downside. I don't see this as a downside because I am paying for just 1 cost. For all those values that I get, I can deal with having no barrier, and I can deal with having to lock to yellow leaders. Cold Bloodlust, an extremely powerful card, is limited to 1 and is locked to Frieza Army. This card is just locked to yellow leaders playing mono yellow energy. So this card is a straight up 6-star for me out of 7. So the system is 7-star being the best SCR, 1-star being a not that good SCR. This card gets a 6 out of 6 immediately for me. Really good SCR. The next secret rare that we are going to be talking about, it is going to be Majin Buu Kabito Kai Absorb. This has got to be one of the best unison removal in the game, not for its effectiveness, but for how it does it. It's going to be very interesting. We're going to get to that later. It almost buys your turn when you play this card. Almost, that is the keyword. And when it is on the board, it is a 40k double strike beat stick. And that is not a joke, because a 40k double strike beat stick has absolutely the ability to end the game for you. How do you use this card? It's during your main phase or your battle phase. You tap 2 and you play this card from your hands, and after you play this card, your opponent's unable to attack you with battle cards for the duration of the turn. So the best case scenario, it is that when your opponent swings with the leader card or the unison card, and during battle you tap 2, you play this card, and your opponent is unable to attack with their battle cards for the duration of the turn. That is why it almost buys your turn. It does not. It's not like Hechiak that guarantees that it buys your turn. It almost buys your turn by playing it correctly. And when you play this card, if you manage to do a Spirit Boost 2, which is removing 2 markers from your unison card, you are able to get this, steal your opponent's unison card. So you don't remove it, put it into drop area, put it back into the deck, bounce it back to the hand, send it to warp. You actually take the unison card and put it into unison area and play it. This card, it's extremely powerful for that. However, there are also a lot of downside. The first downside is it does not have barrier. It is expensive for no deflect. So this card is immune to counterplays. It is not safe to play. If you tap 2 during your defensive phase, which I argue it's a lot and a lot of energy commitment for you to do something defensive, when you play it, your opponent can God Sealing Technique and bounce that card back into hand. If that happens, nothing happens. You just pay 2 energy for nothing. And it pops your own Unison card. If you have Unison card on your board, it pops it. Unless you're playing green, then you're stealing your opponent. If you're playing green, your opponent's playing green, you steal a green Unison card with that. That's good. That is good. However, that might not be the case over here, because what's going to happen here, it's most probably your opponent's playing another color, you steal your opponent's another color Unison card, and you cannot use most of the ability because that is not your Unison card. And of course, one of the most troubling thing is that because this Unison card is of another color, or if you're playing green, you do not have access to dominant potential, and you do not have access to free charismatic villain anymore. So there is a lot of downside to this card. One of the most crazy downside to this card is there are better cards to play for the effect. I will argue, let's not stop the removal for the game. Just play a Supreme Kai of Time. That is she is a very expensive card, I know, but it just does better just for 1 energy. Right, and green, you could play the apes if you have it, and it just pops anything with barrier, just basically just ends the game on the defensive phase for you. So there are many other better green cards to play than this Majin Buu Kabuto Kai Absorb. So the final grade for this card is actually, unfortunately, 3-star. I don't think this is a really good card. So let's talk about the last secret rare for BT14, Cross Spirit. It is going to be Super Saiyan, Son Goku, and Frieza Miraculous Conclusion. This card is very expensive to play because this is a 5 energy play. It is a 40k dual attacker. You heard it correctly. No double strike, no triple strike, no quadruple strike. However, the attack cannot be negated or blocked. So your opponent has to deal with that, and it has the ability to burn 1 damage. You can take this card, remove it from the game, activate main, and it deals 1 direct damage to your opponent. There are a lot of downside to this card, and let's talk about it. The first one, it is very expensive to play. It is a 5 core, so you have to tap 5 and play it. There's no other ways to cheat it out. You cannot combo during the attack. So when you're attacking, your opponent can out combo 40k, but you cannot combo. So it stops you from comboing. So this is going to swing at 40k vanilla, but the good side is your opponent will have to deal with that because the attack cannot be blocked or negated. This has no removal. That means when you play on the board, you do not remove anything. Not Unison card, not battle card. It does not do anything after you play 5 and after you pay 5 energy for it. It has the maximum potential to deal 2 direct damage and 1 indirect damage. And most importantly, no barrier, no deflect. That means after you pay 5, when you play this, your opponent is able to bounce it back into your hand with God Sealing Technique, just like that, and you're basically GG over there. So just on ability alone, this card unfortunately get a 2. There are just so many other things that you can play. For example, can I suggest you, when you are playing a green when you're playing a red deck, if you want to pay 5 energy, the first one that comes to my mind is the Clash of Fate Frieza, right? That is not a very expensive card, and you are able to, when you play it, you remove everything on the board, because I think that's a -40, ignoring barrier, or -30, ignoring barrier on all your opponent's battle card, and then you take a look at your opponent's hand, take a card, and put it into a drop area. And it has quadruple strike. That means 1 swing if your opponent has no negate, combo for your whole hand. So you already know what's in your opponent's hand. So it is very safe. Same cost, 5 energy. Why don't you play that instead? And of course, when it comes to red itself, there is also Go Hanks, where you can play for 5 energy, and that is a dual attack triple strike 40k, and Unison, which your opponent has less ability to deal with, because your opponent cannot do much on a Unison card, but your opponent can actually pop a battle card. However, this card itself has another factor. So it is just not fair to say that this card is 2. Functionality wise, playability wise, it is 2. However, this card itself has very iconic characters. It has Frieza, Goku doing the final pose, the final attack in Dragon Ball Super. Everybody loved this card, everybody loves the artwork for this card, and so I believe that this card has the ability to reach the height of collectability when it comes to Son Goku and Vegeta. But of course, the card over here, Miraculous Conclusion, it's lacking of Victory Strike. So that is the thing that kind of brings it down in the end. I'm not too sure about that. So if you're a collector watching this video, first up, thank you so much for watching this video. And the second part is the comment down in the comment section. Let me know, what do you think about the collectability of SS Son Goku and Frieza Miraculous Conclusion? Iconic character, iconic pose, but it lacks the Victory Strike tag over there. So when it comes to this wise, functionality 2, however, I think this is the money card. So when it comes to playability alone, the trophy, it's gonna go to Super 17 Sibling Absorb. It is a cold bloodlust on a beat stick that all yellow leaders can play, and at the same time it has the ability to remove a thing on the board, and it is very powerful because it ignores barrier. If you're playing yellow, I don't see a reason why you are not playing Super 17 Sibling Absorb. It is just a very good card for 1 energy. Unfortunately, when it comes to Majin Buu Kabito Kai, it is a good card. However, I think there are better options out there, especially if you're playing green. Stealing a Unison card, it's going to be very, very subjective. It is a very fun, interesting mechanics. If you manage to pull it off, that is very, very fun for you. However, at the same time, what are you going to use that Unison card if your opponent is not using like top high level Unison card, right? They're gonna do a lot of things for you, especially if the Unison card is leader lock. It's gonna be pretty bad. Now when it comes to Son Goku and Frieza, I don't think that the card is playable. It suffers from the same problem with Majin Buu Kabito Kai Absorb, which is there are just much better options out there just for 5 energy. However, when it comes to that card itself, because of the iconic pose, Frieza iconic character, I believe that that card is where the money is. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you would like to support me, you can give this video a like, and also this channel subscribe. I appreciate it a lot. If you're looking for TCG products, you can check out my sponsor, maniapacks.com. Use my discount code for 5% off all your purchases. I wish that you stay healthy, stay safe, enjoyed playing the Dragon Ball Super card game. I hope you're okay. See you guys in the next video. Ciao.